Hello and welcome to the next chapter of KNX Advanced course. We are going to discuss about security systems in KNX. My name is Amir and I hope you will enjoy the course. So let's start. So what is a basic principle? Intruder alarm systems are technical installations which are used to protect property and people. Okay, we want to increase the security in building. We want to provide the appropriate safety for the inhabitants of the buildings. The main task of intruder alarm system include preventing break-ins and theft. Okay, so we want to prevent any penetration to the building and alerting people to provide assistance. We want to call police, security guard, and whatsoever in case of any problem. Okay, so this is the basic principle of security systems in building. Depending on the programming, the intruder alarm system reacts. For example, if a person breaches the outer shell of the building or breaks into the protected premises, the most well-known type of alarm is the acoustic alarm, which is combined in most cases with the optical alarm. Okay, we want to hear some high decibel noise. The intruder alarm system also enables an alarm to be issued via the public telephone network. Okay, in previous it was telephone network, nowadays it is more an SMS or email notification. For example, to notify the police or security company. The issue of alarm using visual acoustic signal device has the greatest deterrent effect as the attention of the neighborhood is contracted on the property that has triggered the alarm. So anyone from the long distance can see the red sign, okay, of the flashing alarm. So he or she knows something's happened in that building or in that area or in that zones. Also, there is a high noise sound from this alarm, and the security systems or police are receiving the alarm notification through the telephone call, automatic telephone call, or automatic SMS or email notification. Okay. Special care must be taken when planning and commissioning the intruder alarm systems, as well as the briefing of the operating personnel in order to avoid false alarm. So please note that it is so important in your security systems to not have a false alarm. Okay. Experiences has shown that people in the surrounding area no longer react to intruder alarm system after a few false alarms and therefore do not pay attention to real alarms. So how it would happen, for example, you have the project and you put the motion sensor. If this motion sensor detect the movement of the animals and activate the alarm systems, it's a false alarm because there is no thief or any person or a human being in the buildings. Okay, so this is a false alarm. Or for example, if your sensor quality is low and it is sensible to the warm or cold air coming from the air conditions, so it provides the alarm, and although there is no one in the building, so this is a false alarm also. So we should prevent false alarm, because if some systems has a false alarm, after a while, even if the thief or penetration has happened, nobody take care of it, because the people said, okay, this is a false alarm and we do not want to check it. Okay. Okay, great. So you should always use the reliable systems to prevent any false alarm systems. Then another concept we have it in security and safety systems is a panic switch. The panic alarm systems offer the user the possibility of triggering an alarm manually. Okay, for example, you are in a building and you feel scary about something's happening, okay, you can press the panic switch. As with the intruder alarm system, a trigger alarm can be optical, acoustic, or silent. Even we have the panic switch silent. For example, in bank systems, when the thief are going to the bank, the employee press the button behind their table. It's a silent panic switch. The triggering can be carried out via the visible push button alarm or hidden switch, for example, a bank and blah blah blah. Okay, so we have the panic switch. The next concept is hazard warning. So what is a hazard warning? There are also hazard warning system available. Alarm system is the collective term for when you said the alarm system is a collective term for fire alarm system, intruder alarm system, a panic alarm system, okay? The combination of those. The hazard warning system offers additional protection against the water leakage, burst pipes, or gas leaks, okay? So in KNX, we have the sensors to detect the gas leak or detect the water leak to provide us the hazard warning, okay? So it's going to increase the safety in the building. So which company has it? For example, ABB, Elsner Electronic, and whatsoever. Let's see in a website the shape of this such sensor. Okay, this is the leakage sensor. You can see the type of the sensor, and you can install it, and it detects any leakage of the water and provide you the group object output on the ETS. You can link it to the alarm systems or monitoring things. Great, so let's continue. In principle, a distinction is made between intruder alarm system with a VdS approval and without VdS approval. The VdS guidelines for the planning and installation of the intruder alarm systems, VDS 2311, divides intruder alarm system into the categories A, B, C. So VdS provide us the ABC category, where class A corresponds to the lowest security risk and class C is the highest risk. So let's see what is the class of protection in a building. Class A is a low protection against sabotage attempts. Okay, detectors have a medium level of response and only suitable for monitoring non-commercial risks. Okay, if you do not want to spend so much money on the security system and you are not so worried about the system. The class B is in the middle. It's a medium protection against sabotage attempts. Detectors have a medium level of response, monitoring of the system for sabotage and functional reliability. But what is a class C? Increased protection against sabotage attempts. Detectors have an increased level of response, monitoring of the system for sabotage and functional reliability. So what it means when you needs lower risk, your safety should be higher. Okay, and for this you should have a specific plan and design selection of the material component, and then you should pay more. I mean, the client should pay more for the devices, then he can reach the class C. Okay, for example, if you want to equip the bank or equip similars, you follow the class C. If you want to equip, for example, some offices, data center, class B, and then for home you follow the class A. But it really depends, okay? For intruder alarm system without VDS approval, there is a subdivision into systems which are implemented using VDS approved component and system using components without approval. So that was the systems based on VDS approval, and this is the component based on VDS approvals or not. When implementing an intruder alarm systems, it should be ensured that all the components used have a VDS approval. And this is denoted by number code. The VDS approval should be judged in the context like an MOT certificate, CE mark, or comparable distinction. Of course, this is obligatory for Germany, and you should figure it out in your country what's happening and what certification is needed for systems and for the components. Okay, this is two things, two concepts you should consider about it. So now we are going to discuss about KNX and intruder alarm technology. So before we continue, I would like you to see the components of the regular alarm systems. Okay, you can see we have the center, the control center of the alarm system. We need the battery to supply the system in case of loss of the power. Then of course we need the box, we need the power supply unit, we need the battery, we need the coding panel for most of the time. Okay, so in home automation also it is possible to enter the code through the smart home touch panel, but it is highly recommended to keep the coding panel as a separate device. We have the visual alarm and with the sound integrated, and also we need communication with the telephone through the GPS, through the GSM, the SMS or telephoning systems, automatic telephoning system. Also, if you need to communicate through the internet and send the email notification, you need the IP interface of it. It depends on your devices, of course. And also the detectors in the intruder alarm system, that is so important. There are so many different products in this area. It should be selected according to your project needs. The things you are seeing in the videos is some motion detection. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go. KNX enables simple security and monitoring application to be implemented. The requirements that are placed on the property or the installation must be taken into account. It is not possible to set up intruder alarm system in line with VDS. You can determine whether a VDS system is required from the structural constraints or insurance standard. It should be noted out only simple applications can be implemented. In addition, systems which have been implemented with KNX cannot be called intruder alarm systems. The term information center, information systems is used to avoid confusion. So listen to this chapter, to this paragraph from the book. The book said if you want to apply the simple security systems, even they do not call it intruder alarm systems, they call it information center, information systems, you follow with KNX devices. Okay, if you want to apply the high level of security systems into your building, okay, your building can be offices, commercial, or residential. If you need something very professional, you do not follow the KNX devices. You should follow the specific product, the professional product in the world of intruder alarm systems. Okay, some companies around the world are so nice in this area. For example, Paradox from the Canada, or DSC, I think, or Sattel from the Europe, or Bosch, or many other things. Okay, so you should follow the very professional ones. But if you need something simple and even you do not need VDS approval, you follow the KNX devices. I mean, you use the KNX sensors, power supply, and so on to trigger the alarm systems. Okay, let's go and see. So first systems is highly recommended by KNX. I think it's a nice one because as you see in the system, you apply the security systems individually with its own bus, okay? Because in security systems, for example, when you follow the paradox systems, the communication between the sensor and alarm systems is done via the specific coded bus in paradox, okay? And nobody can penetrate the systems. Of course, these alarm systems can use the gateway to communicate with KNX. For example, the gateway for the paradox systems is available to connect to the KNX. You can see this is the main board of the paradox, and this is the connection of paradox to the KNX. It is available. So what I mean is this is highly recommended because you as a KNX person, as a system integrated, do not respond for alarm systems working conditions, okay? These alarm systems are done by the security man with the specific and special products, and you are only can communicate and see the status, and if the system lets you, you can arm it or disarm it, okay? So you can see here we have the window contact. It is going to the alarm systems. You have the shock sensor from the window. It is going to alarm systems. You have the motion detector located on the ceiling. It is going to the alarm system. You have the horn and light, and this is the alarm things, okay? To see the visualize red sign or hear the noise from the horn. So the following example shows an alarm system with an optional KNX gateway that has been set up in accordance with VDS. Okay, so this is something very professional. If the alarm control unit has a KNX gateway, it is possible to display information and the states of the alarm control unit on a visualization screen. Okay, so always you can check your systems because you have the gateway to the security systems. In addition, the information can continue to be used with the KNX installation, for example, in the order to switch on the lighting centrally, panic function or the window contact can influence the room temperature control and switch it to the frost protection mode. So even when you use the KNX gateway to the professional alarm systems, you can use the data from that to control your things in BMS. For example, if somebody opened the door during the winter, the protection mode is activated. It is only possible to take information from the alarm control unit. It is not possible to trigger functions such as set or unset. So as the book said, it is not possible to disarm the system from the KNX visualization from here. The communication is unidirectional. It means it cannot influence the VDS side from the KNX side, because in these systems, we do not want to let somebody disarm the systems, and the KNX parts maybe when it is not secure one, maybe it is vulnerable to penetration. So only you should be in alarm systems area and environment to be able to disarm the systems. But this is something very recommended because we as a KNX system integrator or designer do not responsible for the operation of the alarm systems anymore. The next one is you can use the motion sensors and contact sensors in KNX, but you have the alarm systems individual also. KNX alarm control unit, if there are no VDS in this, safety functions can be implemented with KNX component. It is possible to carry out a central evaluation of the alarm control unit, which is not VDS certified. It communicates directly with KNX. Either KNX sensor or VDS sensor can be used. So here you can use KNX or VDS sensor. It is possible. VdS sensor can be coupled to KNX network with a push button interface or binary input. An optional visualization unit can be used as an information display or signaling unit. KNX component can be used repeatedly for different functions. The movement detector can, for example, switch on the lighting, arm, and system, and also trigger the alarm. So here, because for example, your sensors is motion sensor or person sensor is based on KNX, you can directly use the different blocks in that sensors to control the intruder alarm systems, or control the light, or control the HVAC in your rooms, and whatsoever. And the next possibility is everything is in KNX. Monitoring functions with KNX. A further option is setting up security and monitoring applications solely with KNX component. You can also use VdS component as a sensor or signaling devices, which is linked to the KNX installation via the push button interface. Alternatively, a standard KNX component can be used for various tasks. For example, the movement detector can switch the lighting in the room, or detection of the movement in connection with the logic time switch in separate module or in the visualization during usual business hours. Outside business hours, all the outside lighting and corridor lighting is switched on when movement is detected. This deters any intruder and attracts the attention of the neighbors. These options can be extended as required depending on the available KNX component, for example, the simultaneous activation of a siren. So here also it is possible to not have the center of the alarm systems anymore and use the decentralized KNX bus to control the intruder, okay, but there is no any VdS certificate on it. So let's talk about VdS-certified KNX alarm control unit from the ABB. I think this is the only manufacturers to provide such products. Maybe Sattel also, I don't know. So let's go to see the this center. VdS-certified KNX alarm units are available on the market. These systems have VdS compliant secure communication channels such as safety, bus systems, or input-output for VdS compliant systems. The control panels of alarm or hazard detection systems also have a KNX interface. If this alarm control panel is integrated in the KNX network, alarm functions can be visualized or linked with the non-safety related comfort functions. The KNX interface then operates as a unidirectional. So here I want to see the features of these devices. Okay, let's see this panel. This panel is connected to the sensors and like motion access control. It has a software. It has a you can go to the browser and do the setup of the systems. You can see different components as access control and things like you can see the sensors and the keys, electronic keys, and many things are fail-safe basically. It has a UPS, I mean it's a battery. Connection for the VdS zone. There's a connection for VdS zone for this center. Connection for alarm signal devices, siren and flashlight. Safety bus system for extending the installation. You can see the safety bus system. So the information or data is coded and decoded between the things, between the devices in this center. KNX bus monitoring, voltage and communication. Safety encrypted IP communication. The IP communication is encrypted. Okay, so we eliminate the penetration to the system by this center. System operating terminal, external integrate. Tamper monitoring, it means if you open the panel, the macro switch is working, and many more. But here we have the communication object or group object in ETS. You can see we can monitor the systems, okay, from this side. We are not going to disarm the system by KNX, we only be able to monitor it. Remember that, because if we are going to change the important things by KNX, it is not VDS approval anymore. Then what part we have it? It is connected to the KNX, it is connected to the input for zone terminal. The zones, each zones, for example, you have the building, okay? You want to arm inside of the building, but disarm outside of the building, or vice versa, so you have two zones. Switch output, you want to trigger something. Alarm siren external, alarm siren internal, okay? You want to activate the siren. The battery connection, the DC supply, there is a power supply because 230 volt from the utility is coming to the battery, coming to the power supply, and then supply these centers. Modem, because you want to have the communication with the IP. Operating access control and analysis unit, there is access control and import the code. Security bus zone terminals, okay, you have the secure communication with your zone terminals. As we said, it is possible to connect to the VDS sensors by this center. Security bus installation extension, you want to increase the input output of this panel. Great, so let's go for installation and topology. In a book there are some points for installation and topology of the security systems. So, in installation, if KNX is used for simple safety and monitoring applications, the basic principle applies if you want to use the KNX. The medium must be protected, okay? So the medium, the green cable of KNX must be protected. You should eliminate any penetration to that cable. The low voltage installation should be particularly robust. Surface mounted installation can be carried out, example, with the steel conduct instead of plastic housing. It means when you want to have the green cable installed on a surface, you should hold it in the steel housing, okay? Designs with open cable routing should be avoided for safety application. You should not have the open cable, the green cable anywhere. Okay, so this is important. Also, in further things, we will see even when we want to select the binary input in KNX, we use some special binary input that if somebody penetrate to the inputs, then we get the alarm. Okay, we will see. Then about the topology, when setting up a new installation or extending the functions of existing installations, it is advisable to set a topology in which the device for security and monitoring applications are either put on the main line or in exclusive line areas depending on the number of devices. So remember that when you want to use the, for example, motion sensor or person sensor as the sensors also for triggering the intruder alarm systems, or we said information systems in KNX systems, so it is better to have it in another line, okay, with the separated coupler or IP router. Then you have the separate power supply and related things. The benefit of this type of topology is keeping the bus load low. Okay, comments such as switching and dimming the lighting or regulating the installation by the user could send out security related telegrams with a delay. So it means when you separate the sensor based on KNX or switch actuator based on KNX for the security systems from the other things like control of the light, HVAC, sound system and whatsoever in a building, so you somehow control the traffic of the data, okay? So, and you never lose or almost never lose the telegram or packet of data in the security line. Okay, so it is highly recommended to have the extra line with the line coupler or IP router for the security systems in KNX, if you have it, of course. Yeah. So you never lose the data and the false alarm is eliminated. So here the book provides us some example of the devices in one line. For example, the power supply unit, the glass sensor, motion detector, logic module, siren. You see activation, deactivation, alarm switch. You see all the security systems or devices related to the security systems based on KNX is installed in one line. Okay, you cannot see here fan coil actuator or light actuator, dimmer actuator. There's nothing in this line according to the book set. So the topology is something important to follow it if you have it. Also about the group address, which group address we use it. You can see the nice functional block for security systems, and the feedback is provided by the book. You can see the activation of the system, alarm motion, alarm glass, deactivation, different D lanes, reset of the system, acknowledgement of the system. You can see there are many group addresses are used to control the security. Of course, it really depends in your project. A simple and understandable philosophy should be applied when setting up the group address structure, okay? Because you provide a specific functional block for security based on KNX devices. The group address structure that is selected is not defined. In the example here, you can see main group 1 has been taken as this has the selected for the ground floor, the middle group address for the security floor, security function, and the subgroup address is based on your detail function in the security. Of course, for the simple project, we do not need such these different group addresses. Maybe 4 or 5 is enough. Also, because you need to have the right operation, you need to parameterize in the right way. The parameterization could be carried out for the safety and monitoring application. Here you can see the line coupler. I told you it is better to use the line coupler and or IP router in separate way for the new line of the security systems. The line coupler should always be used so that the security related telegrams can pass through the however used user-defined telegrams such as switching, dimming, blinds control, etc. These are blocked in order to keep the bus load in the secure area as low as possible. I said, because in the systems you do not need to, in security systems you do not need to have the dimmer or fan coil control communication. It should be blocked by the IP router or line coupler. A further option for the security and monitoring application is the configuration of the flags. The alarm priority guarantees that the telegram is forced through the before other telegram. So it is possible to increase the priority here for alarm systems. Is something somewhere that maybe you need to increase it because you want to have your telegram as soon as possible without any loss of the data. Okay, care should be taken when selecting the priority. If the alarm priority is set for each object, each telegram would treated equally. So you should take care of, you cannot put all of the objects in alarm. Only, for example, the trigger of the siren, for example, okay? Remember that. Okay, some notes that the book provides us for KNX devices in this concept, security systems. The power supply unit. You can see we have the power supply unit in KNX with 12 volt battery input. So of course you can use the power supply unit with UPS connection, it is possible according to your electrical cabinet wiring, or you can use the KNX power supply unit with the battery input, the ABB for example, or a Schneider Electric, or I think the Siemens, they have such a product. You can put this 12 battery module in your electrical cabinet and connect it to the power supply. In case of no power for 1 or 2 hours, it can support it. So what book written is for implementing the task of security and monitoring system. KNX devices manufacturers offer power supply which can be coupled with a battery module. Should the main voltage fail, the KNX bus is supplied with the power for a limited period, depending on the number of devices. The next thing is binary input. Various applications can be implemented for use as a security and monitoring system. The technical documentation of the manufacturers should be taken as a basis when selecting the area of application, the binary input. Depending on the version, window actuator have one or more channel for moving shutter motor, as well as additional binary inputs for combination with the window contact. The combination of the shutter that requires with the window is open, close, offer a variety of functions that can be implemented. Like heating, control, and security, and so on. So we use the binary input here to get the status of the power supply unit and provide it on the bus. But nowadays, because this picture is quite old, nowadays the power supply unit with DIAC functions are on the market, so you can use that and get the all details of the power supply unit through the KNX bus with the group objects, and there is no need for binary input here. But we need the binary input to connect it to the conventional sensor or VDS sensor, okay? And important things is this binary input should show us should show us any penetration, okay? There is in some cases you should use the resistance. And then if somebody cut the wire, the resistance change in the loop, and the binary input provide us some sabotage or penetration group object information. The binary input used here to link VDS component with the KNX installation, glass breakage sensors, key operated switches, smoke detectors, read contacts, and so on, can give bus capability. A VDS read contact with the tamper contact is connected, for example, to channel A of the for the opening surveillance, and to channel B for tampering monitoring. It has been set in the parameter that an alarm is sent when the read contact is opened and the system is armed. The falling edge of the tamper contact would trigger an immediate alarm if there are no logic conditions. Different components with potential free contacts can be used in the same way. In addition, components which requires auxiliary supply can be connected to the existing unchecked output of the power supply, provided that the specification match. So here I would like to show you the product from Zenio. It's a binary input, but provide us some nice feature. You can see here, by means of a resistor, you use the resistor, okay, in binary input. It will be possible to distinguish not only the two states of the switch sensor, but also additional unexpected voltage levels, a short circuit and open circuit due to breakdown or a sabotage, which will be reported to the bus through the alarm object. So here, if you use some special binary input, for example, the quad from the Zenio, then if somebody wants to penetrate the system, they cannot, because you get the very early alarm things. It means somebody cut the wire. Okay, so binary output to activate the flasher. With the continued further development of KNX devices by the manufacturers, functions such as current detection are now possible. When using the binary output for security and monitoring application, the level of security is increased by the current detection function. With the configured object status feedback, it can now also be checked whether the load is working. Okay, also it is possible if you use the status of the relay output, you can make sure that the alarm is working. Example, the binary output is connected to the channel with a VdS approved security related load. It has been set in the parameters that the load operates when the contact is close. The theoretical switching state is recorded. The feedback object, a threshold, can be set through the optional current detection function, which is exceeded by the load during the operation. Also, it is possible to use the relay actuator with the current detection. Okay, so when you activate the alarm system, you should make sure that the alarm is working and it's use the current from the output and the load is on the switch relay. Okay, so it means you can double check the alarm is working in case of any sabotage to the systems, even by using the binary output with the current detection inside of it. Also, the book told us something about sensors. KNX sensors are an important part of the KNX system. Sensors from the interface between the user and the physical layer and the KNX bus. Using switch sensor, the user calls up previously configured functions such as arming, deactivating the system, switching the lighting, moving the shutter, moving blah 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 blah. Switch sensors are used as an operate interface. Switch sensors mean this one. It can be on a wall or in a touch panel and so on. Yeah, you can see the sensors that we have it. It is not only the switch sensor, we have the per sensor motion sensors, we have the motion sensors 180 degree instead of 360 degree, and we have many other sensors, as I told you, like the leakage sensor I showed you before, like this one. This is a leakage sensors. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you learned something useful, and please let me know if you have any question. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.